Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking a look through my collection of vintage London Underground maps, as well as my collection of books related to the maps and also the Underground in general. I've been a huge fan of the Underground ever since I first visited London as a child, and I've always loved it. And I think the overall architecture, the design, everything about it, including the maps, is just something that's always fascinated me. So that's what we'll be having a look at today. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Okay then, so the first one we're looking at today is No Need to Ask, Early Maps of London's Underground Railways. Now sadly this one is out of print. It was published by Capital Transport, David Lieboff and Tim DeMuth. It's an absolutely gorgeous book, and this one and the very one next to it, which is Mr. Beck's Underground, were two of the first books on the Underground I ever actually bought. And this is basically, it looks at the very earliest London Underground maps. Yeah, first published 1999. I had no idea I'd had it quite this long. But although the book is out of print, don't let that put you off, because I've put links to finding these. In fact, all the books we're going to have a look at today on Amazon and eBay. And even though the book's out of print brand new, on Amazon there's lots of second-hand booksellers, and eBay is the same, and they link to copies, so you will be able to pick those up there if you do fancy it. So this is basically going through the Underground maps chronologically, how it actually came together. And I find these early maps absolutely fascinating. There's so much more variety to them than the more recent ones, although I love those as well. And obviously, if you were trying to put a collection of these together, then it'd be an absolute fortune. And some of them are incredibly rare. It's not like you could just go out and buy them. You'd have to wait years for some of these to even come up for sale. But it's a great book, this one. I've had to pull the camera right out because it's so massive. It's a real big coffee table book. Beautiful illustrations. A lot taken from the archives of the London Transport Museum, which are extensive. I'm sure you've been watching the Secrets of the Underground TV series if you're watching this this video, and you can see their archive is absolutely immense. These are very early ones here. So yeah, this is one of the best ones, one of the best books of its type. And every time I look through, I see different things. Look at that, like it's a little cover to the to an Underground map to make your map a bit more permanent. And brilliant, isn't it? I love the ephemera. I just love it. It's great to see how the design of the Underground has changed over the years. It's so old now. And I suppose the allure of the Underground for me, I mean, I'm not a mad train spotter, as you say, or I'm not crazy about going to London all the time to do it. But when I've always gone to London, I've always loved going on the Underground. It's just great. And I think the design of it and the buildings and the history of the station is just unparalleled anywhere else in the world. You go onto the Paris Metro, which isn't bad, or the New York subway system, and it just doesn't compare. There's nowhere near as much sort of, it's not such an event like it is when you go on the tube. Anyway, that's No Need to Ask. As I said, sadly out of print. I think a fantastic book, one of the best printed. However, I think this was probably the one that I first bought, and it was Mr. Beck's Underground map. And obviously he was the chap who, brought the map up to, he basically perfected it in one hit, didn't he? Now, I was absolutely amazed to find that this one was also out of print. I mean, I couldn't believe it, because I thought it was like the standard work on his map. But there you go. So when was this printed? This was even earlier. First published 94, but reprinted 98, which is the edition that I've got. So blimey, I had no idea. But I didn't have any trouble finding any of these books online. They're all there, even the sort of second-hand copies, So this does a little recap initially of the very earliest ones leading up to Mr. Beck's first attempt. There he is, Harry Beck. And for years he really wasn't, he was a bit scorned on officially in official channels, and it wasn't until much later that he became more recognised, and his map became, you could say, a design icon. He still wasn't paid a lot for it, and in his lifetime I don't think he ever really got the recognition that he deserved, but certainly today he does. Now I do have a collection of underground maps, which I'll show you at the end. They start in the 1960s and they go up to, well, into the 2000s, and the Art of the Underground ones, which I think are really lovely, and I'm glad that the tradition is still carrying on. As you can see, this is a great book, and so much information. I mean, there really is. There's lots to get stuck into. And where would we have been without the tube map, eh? That's the Paris one. I believe he did actually volunteer his skills to do other subway systems around the world in a similar style, but they weren't, the other countries weren't such fans of it like we were in the UK. So there you are. Those two books, out of everything that we're going to see today, I think are probably essential. Now the next one we've got is a softback. This is by Oliver Green. It's Underground Art. Once again, sadly, and second edition, this is also out of print, which is a shame. I think this was Lawrence King was the publisher. Published in association with the London Transport Museum, so it's a shame. But this is, London Transport posters from 1908 to the present day. 200 of the best images from the museum's archive of 3,000 posters. And once again, you would have seen some of those if you've been watching the Secrets of the Underground TV show, which is fantastic. And they very much focus quite a bit on the artwork and the design and hidden underground. It's just lovely. So here we are. So it's broken down into different eras. First World War there, the Second World War there, and up to date. Now I won't flick through every single page on this one, but I will sort of give you a flick through so you can have a taster of what this one's like. Some of the more recent stuff, of course. But some of these early ones, particularly for me, the ones from the 20s, 30s and 40s, where the Art Deco style is at its height, I think are just gorgeous. I love them. I've had them as desktop screensavers on my computer. Really is fantastic. Some of the wartime ones now. It's a gorgeous book, isn't it? I wish I had this one in hardback. Yeah, this is sort of one of my favourite sort of periods here. That one there I like. Really nice, that one. There's another one, I don't know if we'll see it, but with lots of umbrellas, which is another absolutely gorgeous one from this period. These are just magic, I think. Yeah, there we are. Oh, it's that one there. Look. Summer sales quickly reached. That's the one I love. That makes a fantastic desktop wallpaper. So yeah, if you like the artwork, and I'm a real fan of these, then this is certainly one book to put on your wants list. Some of the very earliest ones here. There we are. So yes, Underground Art. Great book. Okay, so the good news is, first of all, that this one is actually still in print. You'll be pleased to hear. So you can actually buy this one brand new online should you wish to. And London Transport posters, A Century of the Art and Design again. Also by Oliver Green, so one of the the author of the last book that we saw. And looking at the printing history of this one, it appears 2008. So once again, I'll flick through. Similar style, because there's rather a lot to go through. But hopefully you get a feel for what this one's like. There's a bit more text, for starters. In this, there's a bit more detail. It's putting the posters into historical context a little bit more, which is never a bad thing. Some of the more recent ones here. The Art of the Underground, which I'm so glad that they're still embracing new art, even if it is in limited form on their current tube maps. You know, we get a new piece of artwork on the tube map once every, well, about 3 times a year, isn't it? 3 or 4 times a year at most, which is better than nothing, I guess. But yeah, so this is nice. It's more comprehensive, but perhaps not quite as lavish as that original Underground art book. Looks like there's different posters in here though, which is good. So you're getting to see a variety, because there are, I said, 3,000 pieces of artwork in the archives, which is astonishing really, isn't it? A lot of it you can actually access. You can go to the London Transport Museum's website and there's loads that you can go through. It's just not as user-friendly as you might like. So if you wanted to look at the history of the tube map in chronological order, you can't do that, which is a bit of a shame. It just seems a bit, a bit disjointed in a funny sort of way, but hey ho. So there we are. So it's a nice book, as you can see, lots to it, lots and lots of illustrations, but perhaps for sheer, presentation, the Underground art book, the last one we saw, was a little bit better. But that's got a lot more information in, which is great, isn't it? Look at all the different logos there. Oh, great stuff, great stuff. Now, the next one I've got, I'm only going to show you the cover because it's a huge fold-out map. So I'm just going to pause it there. Okay, so this one is the London Underground, a diagrammatical history. Basically it folds that into a huge map, which you might want to put up on your wall. And then it's got interesting tidbits about every single station. Now, it's been updated numerous times. This is the edition that I've got. And I believe this is at least a good 10 years old. And there's lots and lots of different additions to it. So I don't know if they're all the same or if there's just small corrections or additions each time round. But this one is still available. It's about a tenner to buy, and not a bad little thing at all, particularly if you've got some wall space to display it properly. Now, this one here is from Penguin, Mark Ovenden, London Underground by Design. And lovely, lovely book. This one obviously still in print. It's not that old. Let's have a little look at the printing. 2013, well, 10 years old, I suppose. That's old enough, isn't it? So this is a look not just at the posters, but it is a look at the overall design history of the Underground from vintage and modern times, and actually looks at some of the architecture of the stations inside and out, as well as the publicity and point of sale. There's a lot in here. I just wish this was a little bit larger and also in hardback. I would have paid the extra money. But, the cost of production of books these days, to have something of that, luxuriousness, would have been quite expensive, I guess. But as you can see, there's plenty in here. It's a really great book, this one. I remember selling this when I was a book seller. I remember selling this one a lot when it was first published. I really pushed this one because it was such a great book. And there is so much going on. It's almost like, if you do visit one of these stations, you want to look at your reference books and just see what you might be missing. That's literally just there under your nose that you may have missed. But so this one's still in print. There's an awful lot in it. It sort of touches on all the subjects that we've looked at today. And will be worthy of your time. It's great stuff. Yeah, not a bad little book on the Underground, that one. Obviously it's covering some of the ground that the other books have done as well, but that's not to take anything away from it. there's still loads in there. That's a really good sort of general overview of the London Underground. And this last one we got here, this is a bit more fun. This is not, sort of historical per se, but it's something, if you've got someone who's got an interest in the Underground, you might want to just grab it for them as a bit of fun. It's London Underground Facts. Once again, sadly out of print, but very, very easy to find online. David and Charles hardback. And this is literally just little tidbits, little nuggets of information about different aspects of the Underground, so you can sort of dip in and out. The sort of book you'd have next to you on the loo, let's put it that way. So yeah, nice little book, one to put maybe on a birthday or Christmas list as someone to track down for you. I say it's got lots of interesting little tidbits in here and quite fun. There we are. Right, so that's all the books that I've got to show you. Now let's dig out my original London Underground maps. Right then, so this is my earliest tube map. It's dated 1966. And looks like this would have folded three ways, like the more recent ones. And very, very nice. It says designed by Paul E. Garbutt. So that's who the designer was at this point in time. So quite nice. That's the only one I've got from the 60s, and that's also my oldest one. And this one here is dated number 1, 1973. And this one's laminated, which is interesting. And they've got little peculiarities. So this one says like the Strand station was closed from June 73 to 1976, while there was some work going on there. Next one I've got here is number 1 for 1974. And these are like laminated. They're really, really nice. Nice little examples. And this is number 2 from 1978, a few years later. So again, this would have been like that, but I tend to keep these older ones flat. I'm not really sure why. It's how I've always sort of kept hold of them. Now, size-wise, I've got a few other bits and pieces. These are much more modern. These are the last sort of, 10 years or so. Just little, they're not actually tube maps, but they are like little things related to the Underground. Just stuff that I picked up when I've been visiting London for whatever reason. So a few little bits and pieces there. And these two are sort of similar, really. These are tube guides, so they're not actually well, they are tube maps, but this one says Park Royal Services from 29th of September 2002. So something very, very specific was going on there. Maybe a change in the map or a different service, and that's what this little sort of extra booklet with times on as well was issued for. And I think this one's exactly the same. Osterley Services, 29th of September again, 2002. So same date, but a different stretch of the line. But these were probably merchandised next to the normal tube maps, and that's why I've picked them up. So now we're on to the first sort of generic tube map. These are much more in the familiar style now that you would see if you went on the tube today. October 2001. Shopping by Tube, and the little logo there going into the boot. I think that's really, really nice. Now, of these, I've got a fair old selection to go through, and I will, if I know them, I shall tell you who the designer was. Sometimes the designers of the covers are actually listed, they're like credited, other times not at all. So I'll go through and I'll try and pinpoint the designers as we go. So this one is from October 2008, and it's called Fragment from a Magic Carpet, which is very, very cool, and the designer was Pay White. Now, I have to admit, when I was looking up these designers, there was literally only one name that I recognised, and we'll get to that one in a minute. But not sure if Pay got a credit on here. This is very much part of the Art of the Underground series, and look, actually it does say there, yeah, Fragment of a Magic Carpet, circa 1213 by Pay White, 2008. And it was commissioned by Art of the Underground. Now, I think although I haven't got them all by any means. I'm certainly going to try, but I think these Art of the Underground ones are absolutely fantastic. I really, really do, and I think they're brilliant fun to collect, and they're not a lot of money, all bar one. The next one we got is December 2009, and almost all of these I did pick up actually in London at the time. So I'm hoping that this one, this one's called Earth, Richard Long. So that's what that one's called, Earth. So far we're doing quite well. This one just is almost like generic tube map, isn't it? July 2010. Untitled, brackets tube map, Barbara Kruger 2009. There we are. Now apparently some of these are actually quite scarce. I think the rarest of these sort of Art of the Underground ones is one for Chinese New Year. And this was the only one I actually recognised, and this one's actually signed on the front, so it's June 2012. And this is Tracy Emin. So you've probably heard of her, and she no doubt knocked up that little sketch on the back of a napkin and sent it in and said, there's my effort. It's called The Central Line by Tracy Emin. But one of the few names I actually did recognise. May 2013. So I think I had these all in order. Cover London the World by Mona Hatmoon. London the World. December 2014. There's an advert on the back, so inside, cover from a single one to millions. Ink on paper, Daniel Byrne, 2014. From a single one to millions. January 2016. Cover by Tommy Abbott's, 2016. It doesn't actually give me the title of that one, but I do have a little checklist here. And if I look up January 2016, it's just called Lines, that one, which sort of makes sense, doesn't it? June 2016. That's really nice, isn't it, with the eye there. What's going on there? Cover, Tunnel Vision by Hugh Locke, 2016. Lovely. December 2016. Let's cover Metropolitan Diamonds by Gillian Carnegie. That's what that one is. Very nice. May 2017. So this is one for the night tubes. A slightly different sort of format here, because it's just the ones that are running at night. And it says the cover is Eddie by Pio Abad, 2017. Eddie. May 2017. I Know Where I Go. Looking for the Art of the Underground information. Here we are. Our Next Stop by Lily Van Stocker, 2017. Let's go Our Next Stop. Let's start another little pile, I think. And this is another, I'll put them over there. This is another nighttime one. January 2018. Wing Sleepers by Murian Simnett, 2017. It's a night one there, the birds there in silhouette, that's very nice. January 2018. Mark Camille Chamos. It doesn't give the title though for January 2018. So looking at my little list here, no, that's Wing Sleepers, isn't it? January 2018. So what's the other January 2018? It just says tube map. There is no title to that one. So no title listed, just the designer. So there you go. May 2018. I think this one's called Game of Forms. Yeah, by Geta Brakescu. Game of Forms. December 2018. This one's a little weird, isn't it? It's like a mouth going into a mouth. Very bizarre. The Bower of Bliss by Linder. 2019. In Grandma's dream, this map would always be with you and would resist the passing of time. Laura Provost, 2019. And that one had a revision in June 2019, but they used the same cover. This one's a bit more, it's a bit more elaborate because it's got some of the river services which aren't included on a regular underground map, so that's why. But they kept the same sort of covers. It's a little revision which came out a month later. December 2019. This is Morden by Bedwar Williams. December 2020. Helter Skelter for Lida Barlow. That's what that one's called. As you can see, they do about 3 tube maps a year nowadays, 3 new ones. September 2021. Sit Alongside and Feel Me Breathe. So this would have come out towards the end of the pandemic ending. Helen Kammock. January 2022. Nice one, that. What I Hear I Keep. Larry Ashipong. That one, that's really nice. Looks like a flag. May 2022. Little ad for IKEA on the back. They did advertise on some of these. Here we are, is the little art of the underground. It's called Joy Lambingo, Twist Out. So Twist Out by Joy Lambingo. And then the most up-to-date one, they haven't done a new one yet for January. It's not out just yet. So this is November 2022. Cover is called Roots by Do Ho Soo. Roots. There we are, really, really nice. Now, I did mention before that there is a website where you can track your collection, and it's really, really fantastic. All the old maps are illustrated, and it really is great. So I've gone on and I've logged all my original London Underground maps into my own collection. So I've only got 28, so a fraction of what's actually been issued. But, you know, now that I've sorted them out and I know what's out there, I think I will try and at least get everything from, 2000 up. I'd like to get at least, and I'd love to get some of the early ones because I just love their design so much. But the later ones are great fun to collect. I think they make a great collection. So I'll put obviously links to this website in the description down below because it's very, very good. There are ways you can export your collection. It gives you information on the maps and variants, and also an idea of what you might expect to pay if you haven't already got this particular map in your collection. So it gives a valuation, so which is quite good fun. The only criticism I've got is that you can't sort the maps into chronological order. That's something that you need to do yourself. And even if you export your collection, once again, there's no actual way to sort the maps into a chronological list, which is a bit of a shame. The only other thing I should draw your attention to is there is a Facebook group with regards collecting London Underground maps, and once again, it's got almost 1,000 members, and I think they're a lively bunch. There's not masses and masses of posts, but if you've got some maps that you'd like to swap because you've got doubles, and I've actually, now that I've been through mine, I've found out I've got quite a few doubles to sell on. I will either sell or swap them with other collectors. So a good place and a little resource if you've got a query about an old map. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed looking through my London Underground collection. It's certainly great fun, and it's been quite a while since I've dug all my bits and pieces out, and it was great fun to look through them. If you have enjoyed today's video, do please give the thumbs up. Do please consider subscribing for regular vintage content, and I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.